Well, everybody, welcome to the Your Little Castle show. It is periodically the case we get some famous people in here that are just risen and done some incredible things. So, Abby, I've been following you for a long time. World famous violinist, singer, actress, songwriter. The list goes on and on. Please give a warm welcome here, everyone, to our guest in studio, Abigail Stahlschmidt. Thank you for coming to join us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on.
Well, we want to always highlight the leaders in the community that are making a difference, and maybe steal some of your tips of the trade to help other people. I mean, there's a lot of people that would aspire to be a model or an actress or a singer or a violinist. But how do you do that? You're still very young, but apparently it's something I've got kind of a method I talk about when I go out and visit kids about how I overcame quite a bit with my coma and all that I went through. But we help other people to see, this is not just a one-off weird thing that I was fortunate to go through or survive, and not fortunate to go through, but something that, look at all the other people, and certainly it wasn't all just easy, right? There's a lot of hard work that went into that.
Yeah.
So with that, welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there's a lot for sure that goes into it, but I don't want to step on your toes here.
No, I appreciate.
You're about to say something.
No, you're great. And I want you to do most of the talking. I do the intros where I get to speak the most, and then we go right into it. With that, let's do a quick shout out to our sponsors. We've got they really helped to make this happen. Carroll House Furniture. Brooke, I won't say his birthday when it was, but now you have some idea. But Brooke's a good friend of mine, and he and his sister, Carroll House Furniture, sponsoring us. It's just been dynamite to have them on as part of our show, and we just couldn't do it without them. And then we obviously have another great sponsor, which is USA Mortgage, and you can see the group there, the Flowers Team. Powered by the Flowers Team. I'll take off the, can you see it? There it is behind me. You can see the OWERS. But that's my buddy Steve and Emily, closing loans, helping people, and it's great to just have those kinds of community leaders in our area to help make a difference because, when you have that kind of community involvement, when you're helping people to get a house, to get a home, that's a big piece of what everybody needs. I'm going to jump right into some of the excitement for Abigail's website here. And here is her website. It's Abigail, Abigail, Stahl, Stahl, Schmidt, SCHMIDT.com. And with that, we've got you up on screen. You've got your Instagram there too. So
Wonderful.
Abby, tell us, why did you decide to get into this? What led you to say, I want to be a performer?
So as you mentioned, my career is definitely multifaceted. And I definitely can't say that I ever planned, from when I was starting the violin at 4 years old to be doing what I'm doing now. But I'm really thankful for everything that's led me to the point that I'm at now. And I wouldn't say that I'm at, this peak of massive success because success can be defined in so many different ways. But I guess starting from the beginning, I started playing the violin when I was 4 years old. Started in classical training and playing in an orchestra and kind of the traditional route. I didn't know anything about modeling or acting or, I didn't even know what that would look like when I was that young. So music was definitely my track in the beginning stages. And modeling actually was something I kind of fell into when I was about 12 years old. There was a local photographer, Lance Tilford actually, who was taking some photos of me and my sister. And long story short, he came and approached my parents and said, could I submit these to an agency, a local agency? And we said, sure. We didn't know what that meant at all. Had no idea. And so I had to get braces and go through, some classes, but I took to it right away. I guess it's just that natural performance side of me. I love being on stage. I love being behind the camera. So it felt really natural. But yeah, things kind of just progressed pretty quickly from there. It was after signing with the local agency, then a couple years later, I started signing with more agencies and started getting commercials and, working for major companies. And it's just been, it's a whole host of things because I'm technically an independent contractor, so I do a lot of different jobs. But yeah, it's been this crazy, amazing journey that, again, I never could have anticipated from the moment that I, picked up the violin when I was 4 years old. But I get to pretty much direct a lot of my own career, which is definitely a luxury that I know a lot of people don't have. But it is really cool because, they're on the one hand, it's, when's my next job going to come in? because it's whether it's booking a concert or booking an acting or modeling job, you never quite know unless you have jobs that are booked months and months out when you're going to have your next job. But it also makes it exciting. It's always changing. So,
yeah, a long history in the dramatic realm, if you will. My mother's been a drama teacher for 50-something years. She's still teaching drama, which is neat. And so somebody who has contributed to our community, they've named the theater after John Goodman, is one of her most famous students.
Oh, awesome.
And so when John Goodman flew into town to help name the theater after her, we got that up there on the wall up there.
That's
so
cool.
But I've been around this for so long, and it took until a few years ago, or not, a few months ago, it seems. I asked my mom, I go, Mom, why ultimately did you think that that may not be the path for me? Mm-hmm. She goes, you had these skills. I mean, it's just like a lot of things, people are willing to put the work in. I was worried about exactly what you were saying. Mm-hmm. When's the next job coming?
Yep.
How consistent is this going to be as a matter?
That's hard for some people.
And there's a lot of people that get to a certain level. I know some of the actors that my mom has had that have made it to the big time, but then now they're not in the big high level A-list or whatever you call it. So it is a battle. But somebody like yourself, you've proven it, consistently been there. Tell me, how long have you been doing this now? You started when you were 4. When did you start going professional?
I started modeling even more professionally, probably, like I said, about a year or two after I signed with an agency. So maybe when I was about 14, I was traveling all the time, almost immediately. While I was in school, I actually was dual enrolled at UMSL, so I was taking college classes at 14, 15. So I was having to ask out already at that young of an age, having to ask out of my classes at college. And, it started getting kind of difficult because I was like, I have on the one hand my education, but then on the other hand, I have a career that is already, pretty much blossoming in front of me. And, which do I choose? So ultimately, I actually did make the choice to end college early, which, it's always different for everybody. But because I was doing so much and traveling so much already with both modeling and music, I decided to at least take a break from school and go pursue my dream, really, which has led to some amazing things. I've gotten to perform in some incredible places all over the world. I have been touring with Vivaldi Metal Project, which is a symphonic rock band, actually symphonic metal technically. So they take classical music and they reorchestrate it for a live band setting. So many of the favorites that a lot of people know, even if they're not classical musicians, they would recognize a lot of the melodies. But I got to tour in some of the most amazing places in Amsterdam and Rome, Bulgaria, and in Finland as well. So just to see some of the most gorgeous scenery and also have the experience of playing internationally with musicians who are from a different part of the world. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey, but it's not been a straight line, Right. I think a lot of people ask what's made you successful, and it's hard to even define because, it takes even sitting down and looking back at what you've done and realizing, wow, you know what, I guess I have accomplished a lot. Because there's not always this, especially again being an independent contractor, there's not always this clear defined goal that you're working towards. You're not working towards that promotion or becoming the CEO of a company. It's self-defined, but then it's also dependent on really the whatever factors might come into play in you even getting a job. So again, it is really exciting, but there is a lot of you kind of have to let it ebb and flow. So anyway, but I have gotten to perform with some absolutely incredible musicians over the years, and I actually do have some shows coming up in this month and in December. I'm going to be playing with Mr. Blue Sky, which is an Electric Light Orchestra tribute band, and I've been performing with them for about the past 3 years. Yeah,
I know Jeff Faulkner real well.
Yes, yeah, amazing group of musicians. And we will be performing in Chicago on November 18th, on Friday. And then actually here in St. Louis at Delmar Hall on November 23rd, which is a Wednesday. So would love to see everybody there. It's going to be a blast of a show. We've performed at Delmar a few times now. And then I'm also going to be performing with the group that formed Mama's Pride, the Liston Brothers, in December on December 10th and 11th at the Pageant. So that's going to be a really fun show.
Well, quite a resume you've put together there, and it's just exciting to see somebody. Like I said, I've been following you for a long time. I started seeing some of your posts, and I was like, we've got to get her on the show. Somebody along this path, tell me, this is another question. This is off the. We have a list of questions we pre-compose, the kind of standard, but every once in a while I throw a wild one in. But we had Coco Bridges, if you know Coco Bridges. But Jason Bridges, he's known for a little song called "Shake Your Tail Feather."
Oh, okay, I love it.
If you heard it, and he's part of the Nelly group, and does a lot of work with those. He's got 2 Grammys, Over and Over Again. I'm gonna get in trouble if I sing too much of it, of course. But they literally, he's done some amazing stuff, and what he did. What he mentioned to me is it's kind of once you get into that realm, once you get into that circle, then you're in.
Yep.
Now you've got to consistently produce,
right.
But the hardest part is getting into that circle of experts, of the actors and singers and producers that make it all happen. Would you say that's kind of helped once you've gotten to that level? Now you're kind of known, and then it's a little easier for you to get work.
Yeah,
at
I
that
think
point?
There are definitely different levels of that, but that is for sure. It's all about really with anything, it's really all about the relationships. And it's also about doing what you love. When people can see that you have that passion inside of you for whatever it is that you're doing creatively, it makes them want to work with you. And yeah, it is about creating those relationships where somebody's like, I know I can call this person up and they'll be available if I have a show, even next week. I know that they're going to be making themselves available. So it's also putting yourself out there in those ways to just be ready, really, at a moment's notice.
Well, just incredible leadership with regard to, just taking that chance. I mean, what does it take for somebody to say, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, I'm going to be a mechanic. Yeah. Pretty good opportunity. They're going to find work. When you say, I want to be a concert violinist, a singer, songwriter, wow, you're really going out taking a leap. And once it's just awesome to see. I mean, we're going to jump right in here a little bit, everybody. I want to show everybody a little bit more about her, Abby's website, Instagram. You got a ton of followers on all the different social media that's out there. And it's just really neat to see somebody who's put the effort in and just how this has really grown and turned into such an incredible overall career you're putting together at such a young age. So with that, let's jump on over here. I'm going to show everybody a little bit more of the what she's got. Here's Abigail's website, and you can take a look here. And I'm going to even cruise around here a little bit on the website, and you can see a lot of great information there about Abby, as we call her, and links to all of her exciting stuff and the things that she has put so much effort and time and energy into. But that's not all where it stops. Here is we'll throw up on the screen for everybody your Twitter, and we found that earlier, and a lot of good information out there. But your biggest following is all over here on this new thing called Instagram. And I after you said Abby instead of Abigail, I was like, we got it. There it is. And look at this, 78,000 followers on Instagram, and really just showing what you can do there. Beautiful modeling pictures and a lot of performing. That violin is so cool. What's it like having this kind of a following with this many people that are interested in seeing what you're up to?
I mean, on the one hand, it's definitely a responsibility, being able to have a platform is a blessing, but also just realizing that you have that kind of opportunity really to reach people. So yeah, but it's also amazing to know that people are that interested in you, that they want to see that, see the content that you're posting. So it's definitely flattering for sure. Well, pretty impressive. And like I said, we're going to take a wide shot here. You can see on the wall behind us, everybody, this is the TV wall. We built the wall here, everybody. And I'm going to share it with you. Now, we're not going to play the audio. We might dub this in later. But this is a heck of a performance. This was pretty astounding. And so I'm going to give everybody a glimpse here. Tell everybody a little bit about what's going on right here on this particular performance you've got going on the wall behind us here. And I'm going to put up on the screen for everybody. This was for KSHE 95. I know a bunch of people are familiar with KSHE. And this was one of their birthday celebrations at the pageant. So it was super fun. They invited me out to kind of guest appear and play Freebird for the audience. So it was a blast. Well, I mean, so an audience at the pageant, that seats 2,000 or 3,000 people, I think, at least, doesn't it? Around that, yeah. Is it more than that? And I mean, this is, take a look at this video, everybody. This is an incredible shot. Obviously, multi-camera there going on. And that violin is pretty awesome looking. Where do you get a violin? You can't just go down to the local music store for that, can you? I don't think you can. No, I got this one online actually years ago when I realized I wanted to be performing on stage and have the ability to not only look out at the crowd, because normally with a violin you have a chin rest that your chin is resting on, But this instrument is unique for one thing because it actually straps onto you with totally unique design with an arm that comes down and then a strap that comes in front and clips onto the violin. So it allows you the freedom to be able to run around the stage, flip your hair if you want to, if you got hair, and it just gives you a lot more performance ability, really. Which is what I wanted mostly with this violin. But not only that, I mean, it's got the most amazing pickups inside of it. So this violin is made by Mark Wood, and he is also a fantastic electric violinist. Probably a lot of people have heard of him. But this is actually called the Viper violin, and they make these all the way up into 7 strings, I believe, which is absolutely incredible. So normal violin is 4 strings, and then this one that I have has 6 strings, so it has 2 lower strings added to the normal range of a violin. So it gives you a lot more creative freedom, especially in writing music or even covering for other members of the band. So it's pretty fun.
Pretty amazing. Well, with that, everybody, we will insert a little music right here that Abigail has actually performed and written yourself. You're a composer as well. Yeah. And so we'll let you guys take a look. We can't play the stuff that's been world famous that's owned by other musicians.
Right, the cover stuff.
If she were to sing, we would definitely get in trouble because they definitely recognize it. If I sing, we still get in trouble. It doesn't matter how bad you sing the song that someone else wrote. You still must give proper rights. I think you get about 8 seconds. And then it's got to get off there before you can use it anymore. But we're going to put up some of the stuff you've got and some beautiful work you've done. Maybe put that in tune with some of the videos you've got. But amazingly incredible stuff that you've done. And it's just neat to have somebody right here in St. Louis. What is it like being, when you got to this level, what's it take to stay here, do you think? This is something that has to be my path I talk about with my coma and when I became a professional soccer player, a football player after my years of soccer, was I just went out and practiced.
Yep.
Practice. Yep. Tell us, is it a similar thing you have to do? How do you make this happen?
It definitely is. It's not like once you get to a certain point, you can just sit there and expect to be able to maintain that. But another part of it is also differentiating yourself. Obviously I do have somewhat of an advantage here because I play the electric violin, and I play violin a lot of people have not seen before. So, there is that wow factor initially of it just being different. But then also, of course, it is being able to maintain the level of ability and even to continue to grow. Because there are other people that, they're also trying to get up to the level that you're at. So if you just kind of sit there, then they're going to pass you up. So,
well, it's just impressive to see somebody that's put in the skill. We have some other influences we've talked to. Was there anybody pushing you as a child to say you've got ability this way? There's some things you're good at. Was there any help along those lines?
I definitely have had a lot of support in my family, and I know not everybody has that story, but my parents especially have just really helped pushed me along in that direction as they noticed at a young age that I had an interest and an ability, musically especially. I tried dance for a little bit, and we realized that violin had to win out over that. But yeah, it definitely is very helpful having somebody in your corner, whether that is a member of your family or whether it's a manager or even a friend. Just having somebody that who can be honest with you about even the products that you're putting out there. Whether it be, you could tweak this a little bit to make it better, or, hey, that's great, you really should go for it. So that's definitely a huge part of it.
Well, tell me then, this is a lot of work to get here, but of course, everybody, the path is not just laid out for you, right?
Yeah.
If you could tell me just one obstacle that you feel that you had to overcome, something that you were like, ooh, this is tough. This might be something that's going to be such a big challenge. You're not sure. You're questioning yourself a little bit, and then you stuck with it and obviously made it happen. Right. Tell us if there was one time in your career that you would say, wow, I had to really think about what I was doing.
I think it was initially whenever I was deciding that I wanted to do more than just classical music. I was realizing that I loved the technical skill and the technique that you needed to have for classical music, but I wanted to do more with it. I loved being able to pick up melodies by ear and play them, and I wanted to start writing my own music, but I didn't know where to start. So kind of what launched me into that path was also something that was a little confusing for me, I think, in the beginning, because I was noticed by a manager, and he thought I should go specifically in the country music realm, which would also mean that I was told that I needed to minimize my violin role and that I needed to kind of elevate my vocal role, which, I love singing and playing the violin, but since I've been playing the violin since I was 4, I was thinking, this is my main instrument. I don't want to step back on my main instrument because I feel like this is what sets me apart from other people. So it was definitely a time of figuring out where my lane was, and just being able to really be good at what I'm good at, and being confident in that, and not feeling like I just have to shift because somebody else was telling me that would be more marketable. So I think that's a lot of it, really being able to believe in the talents and the skills that you have, and once you realize that, not allowing anybody to kind of pull you away from that. So.
Wow. Well, so much goes into that. Tell me, what gives you the most satisfaction? If you look back at all of what you've had to accomplish and things you've had to go after, and you say, man, this is what makes me feel so good about doing what I do here. If there was there one thing that you could say, this is why I do this. This is what keeps me going every day.
Yeah.
And if I can do this the rest of my life, this will make you happy.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to inspire other people to not necessarily even do specifically what I do. I mean, that if they want to do that, then that's awesome. But to be able to realize that even if there is not a specific lane, or you don't see somebody doing the thing that you think you want to do, or you kind of have an idea that you want to go for, that not to let them deter them from going after it. So basically just sticking to your gut and realizing that even if there is not a path out there already laid, then, why not you be the person to lay that path? And also, again, kind of like we already said, not every career, well, really every career is not linear. There is not just this straight trajectory upward. You may go one direction and then realize, hey, that's not quite where I need to be. Maybe country music is not, the lane that I want to be in. So then you go back in the other direction, but you're making connections along the way, and, building relationships and building a content and just things that will end up fueling you in the future. So, yeah, that would be the advice that I would have.
Well, that's a huge tip for a lot of people. We talked about it, right? We're sharing the tips and trades of the secrets there. So with that, we got a couple more things, but we want to talk about, and this is where we put on the Cardinal Cowboy hat, because when you're contributing to the community and you feel like you've made a difference, that's what we'd like to emphasize here on the shows. And that's when we put on the Cardinal Cowboy hat. So what would you say is the one thing you do, or that you've continued to do, or you want to do more of, to help influence and help the community as a leader that is really doing a lot to make a difference for those who are just really trying to figure out where they want to go in life and how this may be a path that they want to follow.
Right.
And what would you have to say about that?
Well, I definitely do want to help elevate people's voices who feel like maybe they don't have somebody in their corner. They don't have the kind of help that I had from my own family, and being able to allow them to be pushed or even funded in the right direction, because violin lessons are expensive. I really want to be able to help fuel that for even young kids who are looking at this path and saying, hey, this is what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. So really being able to inspire in that way is something that I have done and also want to do more of, whether that even be through giving lectures or going to schools and being able to kind of showcase that in front of kids and say, hey, like, this could be you as well. This doesn't just have to be, look at me up on a screen. This is, everybody's voice matters. So, yeah.
Well, I think that's important. It seems that those people who go around and help people the most are the ones that seem to be most successful. And you get so much satisfaction out of talking to other people and kind of inspiring them. After I tell people a little bit about my story, a lot of people who do, I visit kids at hospitals and schools, and we've got a couple friends of mine that have become good friends. By now we talk about that they're coma brothers. These two other people have also been through a coma, and that's a horrible thing to have to go over or to go through. But in going through and helping them and to help them to get back to as much as they can in normal life, that's what seems to give me the most satisfaction. It seems like that's where you're going with what you're talking about, because how many people are there out there that are going, I just don't have what it takes. I don't believe in myself. I didn't have the kind of support that you obviously have had, and to have that kind of support, to have that kind of background, to be able to help other people, I think really makes a tremendous opportunity to help make the world a better place. And with what you're doing, I tell you, it is so cool to see somebody who has been out there going after it. And I mean, traveling the world, touring the world, modeling around the world, acting, everything. If there was one thing any little girl could ever dream of doing, you're essentially doing that right now.
Well,
And I
thank
think
you.
it's very cool to see what you've done so far. So with that, we are going to put in a little bit of her music clips that we talked about, but we have our community award here, everybody. And so
Yes.
this belt is probably a little big for you, but it's big for everybody. But this is,
I love
it's
it.
our honor now to give to you to
Thank you
wear,
so
and we'll get a
much.
picture of you
Oh, that's so cool.
with that on too. So you are now an official Cardinal Cowboy community leader.
Is this the right way?
There you go. And
Just put it on my
you
shoulder?
put it on your shoulder, and
That is so cool.
that is something that whenever we get somebody who's doing a great job to help lead the community, make a difference, help people, and really inject themselves into making a difference for a lot of people and adults, and that satisfaction that you get to help bring and just the fun you get to bring to other people, make people smile, make people enjoy it. Take a little reprieve. I mean, I know you're traveling all the time. We had to get you in the studio here in between some of your appearances, but wow, just incredible work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's an honor to be on. So I
And
appreciate
we
you
hope,
having me.
will you come back and visit again?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you'll have me.
Well, absolutely. I think we're going to get a lot of viewers based on this show, and
hope so.
I think it's a lot of fun to have somebody like yourself that will share a little bit of that background and say, hey, look, here's somebody who's made it. Here's somebody who put the time in, put the work in, and is here now sharing what they've learned and what they've done to make a difference.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We want to see more of that. All right, everybody, stay tuned. This is the Cardinal Cowboy, Carter Rethwish, hosting here the Your Little Castle show. We're always looking for leaders like this. So if you know anybody, shoot them over here. Watch this full interview. It'll be uncut out there on our YouTube and our Facebook. It's going to air in a couple weeks on ABC here in St. Louis, and we hope you enjoy this interview and hopefully can share some of the excitement with other people that we can encourage and inspire, and
Absolutely.
get some more of that going from people like Abigail to help inspire others. And we'll do a little bit more of that. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Giddy up.
How are we supposed to follow that up? Yeah. You're good at that. You're good at that.